Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host Alamdar Khan. And yes, as you know, we give you sports information from all across the globe. You guys can solely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is at the rate of Indus News Sports. That works both for Twitter and for Instagram. But anyways, we'll go to the headlines first. Yes, from the world of cricket, an entirely new England team actually managed to win against Pakistan by 9 wickets on the first ODI at Cardiff on Thursday. And yes, from the world of NBA, we're talking about the finals. Phoenix Suns managed to meet Milwaukee Bucks 118 to 108, and now they lead game by 2 games. And yes, from the world of tennis, Ashley Barty is through to the Saturday's women's singles final after defeating Angelique Kerber in a thriller match at the Wimbledon. And yes, from the world of Tokyo Olympics, fans are banned from the Olympics venue as the virus emergency has imposed. And yes, those were the headlines. And not to forget, guys, we want to surely talk about the upcoming matches. Yes, we're talking about Copa America's final, Brazil versus Argentina, and that is on Sunday. And not to forget, Euro 2020 final is also on Sunday, Italy versus England. So definitely make sure that you guys get time to do this. But we want to instantly jump up to the world of cricket. Yes, what an utter disappointment in terms of Pakistan's performance against England when they managed to lose against them. And Pakistan managed to only score 141 runs and England managed to win by 9 wickets. So we have with us a cricket expert, Leena Aziz, who is joining us. Leena, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Alamdar.
So Leena, we'll start off with obviously everybody's disappointed in terms of the performance. This is the same team. These are the same members, the same squad, the same individuals who were playing in PSL, who've actually scored over 200 runs, to be very honest, as a team in 20 overs. And here we see the collapse again, which we always do. So what exactly did go wrong, besides the fact that they did get a chance to practice, they did get a chance to isolate, and after isolation they did practice, but what is wrong with the batting lineup?
Alamdar, it is very, very common for an Asian side to go and collapse in England because the overhead conditions, the pitches, these are totally different conditions than, say, Karachi or Abu Dhabi or Sharjah. These are pitches where, the ball is going to swing a lot. Overhead conditions is going to make the balls swing. Pakistan or India or Sri Lanka, they're always going to have problems, especially if there are no proper side matches. Earlier, like, a few years ago, before Corona, what used to happen is that a team used to travel to England.
Right.
And before playing an international match, they would play a few side games with the county sides.
Right.
This time it did not happen. I'm not trying to make any excuses for the Pakistan side. Trust me, I'm extremely livid as well, as livid as you are. But I'm just trying to tell you the facts. So we didn't get any side games, and then immediately we had to start, on in an international match. But the thing was that Pakistan had a clear advantage. Pakistan weren't playing the actual first English 11 because of the COVID incidents. They were playing a B side. These boys were all accumulated from different county sides and made to play. Most of them were making debuts. So
Right.
This is a B side, and they should have done well. But once again, the batting side didn't do well. They did not respect the new ball. They did not respect that there's going to be swing, and they kept on playing across the line. Once you play across the line in England,
Right.
You had it. And that is what happened. The new ball, they lost 4 wickets on that.
Right.
Because they were playing across the line or away from the body. And both things are criminal. In England, you got to play straight, with the straight face of the bat,
Right.
close to your body, underneath your eyes, and none of that was done.
Well, to be very honest, I was told that, they even got a chance at least to practice a bit before the match began. So they did have a few practice session matches from what I was told from England. But the point is, think about this. 5 debutants in England's team. I understand that they know the conditions, they know how to go by in England. And it's been a while that we managed to go to England to practice or even have a match. But the point is, do you think we will be making some particular changes in terms of our batting experience, and all the things that actually managed to make Pakistan all out at 141, right? And that won't
Yeah.
be a surprise, by the way. It could have been 41. We can also surprise, but obviously 141.
Yeah. Look, Alamdar, first of all, I'll tell you that, the practice matches were intra-squad practice matches, not against the county sides.
Right,
Intra-squad doesn't make a difference at all. It's like, we're 15 people and we make two sides of seven each and practice amongst the teams, you
right,
know. But when you practice against, you get a proper match. That is match practice.
right,
Against the county side, they didn't get that. So, okay, that is now sorted out, that they did not get any practice. The practice they got was amongst themselves in, inter-squad matches,
right.
which don't count for anything. And now to talk about the changes, is not going to be in personnel. I don't see any changes in the team. I want changes in the temperament, in the thinking, in the application. They got to apply themselves a little more, especially against the new ball. Play it safely. They got to then, once they secure their wickets, not lose too many wickets against the new ball. Then they got to then they got to look at making 300 runs.
Right.
Once you can make around 300 runs on English pitches, or once you're able to chase 300 runs on English pitches, you can then win matches. For that, the batsmen have to play differently, play with the straightish bat, especially the beginning of their innings. Once they're settled, their individual score is, say, 20, 25, then they can experiment a little more. But initially, you got to play the ball late, very late. You've got to play it right under your eyes. You've got to play it with the full face of the bat and in the V, not everywhere else. Once you're settled, then you can play other shots.
Look, I would only suggest that, if we manage to fall down, trickle down to be precise, because if you talk about Saqib Mahmood, what a phenomenal bowling from him. He basically plays for Lancashire County Club. So I think these debutants have actually proven themselves as they can play in their teams. Now he'll definitely have a bigger chance of being a part of the team in terms of his performance. But not to forget, we also had Shaheen Shah Afridi. The England players have not faced Shaheen Shah Afridi, to be precise. But Shaheen Shah managed only to get one wicket. So don't you think it was a pure bowling pitch to begin with? And if it was a bowling pitch to begin with, why didn't our bowlers manage to take those early wickets of England?
Look, it's an excellent question, but it's not as simple as that. For the bowlers to do well, the batsmen have to give you something.
Right.
And this is what I was saying to another channel yesterday, that if you want your bowlers to perform miracles, which they have been doing since 1947, since Fazil Mahmood, Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, Waqar Yunus, etc., Umar Gul, then at least your batsmen have to give you 250 runs.
Right.
Because if your batsmen don't give you those runs, when the opposition comes to bat, they're so full of confidence, and your bowlers are so low on confidence because your batters haven't given them anything, that they don't bowl the same way. If you're chasing 140, even a club side is going to face Shaheen Shah Afridi and Rauf and Hassan, a lot of confidence. If you at least have 250, bare minimum 250, then they are going to be a different bowling side. So I don't attach any blame to the bowlers, none whatsoever, zero, zilch, zero. I attach 150% blame, 200% to Misbah and the batters. They didn't have the sort of mentality. They weren't ready to for the first match. Maybe because, like I said, they didn't get a match against a county. Maybe they weren't prepared to play the way I've been telling you, late and under your eyes and in the V. And they kept playing across the line, away from the body, flashing like Babar Azam did. So, I would attach all the blame to the batsman.
Right. And if we talk about this, let's give them a benefit of doubt to begin with. Obviously, when they're there, which is obviously a thing of the truth these days, that, whenever somebody has to travel or a team has to travel to a home or away country, they have to go through the isolation, which is definitely not easy. I understand. But what if we give them the benefit of doubt this time, that maybe they were going through, or maybe just trying to shake their heads so that they could perform? Do you think in the game 2, which is tomorrow, are they ready?
Well, they're definitely a bit ashamed, and they're not happy on their performance. These athletes, top-class athletes, cricket players, take a lot of pride in their individual performance also, their team performance also. So I'm sure tomorrow's performance is going to be better. The batsmen are going to play with more responsibility initially,
Right.
try and save wickets, not to make silly mistakes as runouts,
Right.
play more straight, play under the eyes late. So I'm sure in the last 2 days there must have been a lot of team talk, a lot of input must have been given from the management,
Right.
the coaches to the players. So the performance is going to be much better. I can't promise you that Pakistan's tomorrow going to come and trash
Right.
England. What I can promise you, being a cricket commentator, analyst, and knowing the psyche of the players and how much pride they take in the performance,
Right.
that the performance is going to be much better tomorrow.
Well, we surely would want that because I think in terms of learning, it's all about experience. And I think now, probably because of this first defeat in a very humiliating way, I think they will surely learn from it. And I think that's probably the only way. So, do you think we need to be on the offensive side or maybe more on the defensive side to begin with? Yeah, that would be something interesting to know.
Yeah, well, definitely on the offensive. I mean, I don't have a negative bone in my body, so I'm never going to say that you should be on the defensive. What I'm saying is that respect the new ball,
Right.
play it out a little bit.
Right.
Score around 4.5, 5 runs and over.
Right.
Once you have the wickets in hand, then go for your runs. Increase your strike rate.
Right.
Take the score to 300 if you're batting first. If you're asked to chase, then also chase systematically. Make a plan
Right.
and then go for on that plan. But you've got to play differently in England.
Right.
The new players, some of the one or two new ones, have to play differently. They'll have to play straight. They'll have to hit their shots, scoring shots in the And once they get the ball which is away from that their body, and then they've got to use their feet and play the cover drives or etc. The pickup shot on the leg side. But you've got to apply yourself harder. And you got to understand and respect the English conditions, respect the new ball, the first 7, 8 overs. Once those first 8 to 10 overs are gone,
Right.
you can then, as a batsman, open up and start playing your strokes.
Right. Well, Lina, thank you so very much for being a part of the show and discussing the world of cricket.
Okay.
We're surely looking forward for the upcoming match. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And yes, that was Lina Aziz. And obviously now we're looking forward for the upcoming second ODI, England versus Pakistan. We surely want that to be perfect. That is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Let's hope our team manages to perform the way they're supposed to. But anyways, guys, we'll take a quick break. Once we get back from the break, there is more coming in from the world of sports. See you guys after the break. And yes, welcome back from the break. And yes, before the break, we were discussing the world of cricket. But anyways, we surely would want to talk about the NBA Finals. Not to forget that the game 2 actually happened and Phoenix Suns managed to win against Milwaukee Bucks. This was the second game, so 2 in a row, 118 to 108. A definite disappointment. To discuss the in-depth analysis how things are flowing in for Bucks and the Phoenix Suns, we have with us Josh Reynolds all the way from US. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Love being back.
Great. So, Josh, we'll start off with how, because this was a home game for Milwaukee Bucks. When we talk about Giannis, now he's putting in his very best, but we still see there's a lack of coordination, there's a lack of energy from their team. And if this continues, this may end up in a clean sweep.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it really was. Giannis, game 2 really gave you everything that you could want as a basketball fan. The stars showed up. Giannis did absolutely everything he possibly could. He had 42 points.
Right.
Devin Booker, 31. Chris Paul with 23. But really, to me, the story of the game and the unsung hero that never gets any attention or talked about is Phoenix forward Mikal Bridges.
Right.
He's known as a 3-and-D guy. It's only his 3rd year in the league. What he did last night was unbelievable and really the main difference in why Phoenix was able to win that game. He ended up with 27 points. He's the Suns' 4th leading scorer and has been all season behind Booker, Ayton, and Chris Paul. But last night, again, going for 27, hit some huge shots down the stretch,
Right.
hit some big threes. That to me was the difference. But to your point, Giannis did literally everything humanly possible to put the Bucks on his shoulders. Again, having 42 points.
Right.
They simply need more help. There's no excuse for Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, their other 2 stars, just to not show up. It doesn't
Right.
make any sense, and there's no excuse for that.
But even if we look back into how they managed to get to the finals, obviously when Giannis was not there, he missed a few games, which actually, but at that very moment, if you remember, they still managed to put up a good show. But right now, either they are in a position of getting nervous to not get out there open-heartedly, or I don't know, because we're still confused. In terms of Giannis's performance, the game one could easily see that he still has that leg issue. He was still trying to control his knee. But right now, in this game, it was a total one-man show. 42 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists. I think it's phenomenal. But if you remember, after maybe after a half, when he was having a discussion with the team members, he was really, really upset. He was literally screaming at them. So I don't really know what's truly happening inside the team, Milwaukee Bucks itself. But I think if this stays like the journey that they want to continue, it would definitely end up being a disaster.
Yeah, a disaster is the perfect way to put it. It's a terrible time for these guys to just not show up. I mean, we're in the NBA Finals. It's exactly what you dream of. It's the point that they've wanted to get. For them to just not show up doesn't make any sense. Like you said, Giannis, when he was hurt, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, these are guys that stepped up. They're the only reason that they were able to advance past the Atlanta Hawks.
Right.
And now with Giannis back, they're just not playing the same type of basketball. Like you said, in game one, it was very, very clear that Giannis was still favoring that knee, and rightfully so. But he wasn't. It was almost like he was feeling out his knee, feeling out the game. He only had 11 shots. Right. So you knew coming out game two that he was going to be more aggressive, and obviously he was, but he full well did not expect his team to not show up with him. And yeah, that's that scene of him just pleading, screaming at his team, like, help me, give me some type of help. Drew Holiday with 17 points, Chris Middleton with 11. Like it's Brook Lopez at 8 points. There's no excuse.
And to be honest, you're absolutely right. These figures are the figures that they use score in the first quarter. I mean, like, I don't know what exactly is up with Chris Middleton, Lopez, and Drew Holiday. I mean, like, these were the people that actually led the team to the finals.
Yeah, you're right. And that's exactly right. In the first quarter, they looked like, okay, maybe they had it together. The first quarter ended and the Bucks had a 3-point lead. The game was really separated in that second quarter. The Suns outscored them 30-16, hit a ton of threes, and then from there, just Drew Holiday is missing just wide open layups. Chris Middleton missing wide open jumpers.
Right.
You've got to credit Milwaukee's coaching staff because they made some adjustments. They made some changes from what they saw from Phoenix in game one.
Right.
They ended up trapping that pick and roll early to kind of push the ball out of Devin Booker, Chris Paul's hands. They even went small and put Giannis at the 5, but Phoenix just countered that. They had Torrey Craig, who they moved to the 5 to guard Giannis. Phoenix just countered and made every single adjustment that they needed to. And honestly, Phoenix style of play is so fun to watch. It's almost like organized chaos on certain possessions where everybody's making the extra pass. There's no selfishness. They're all looking to get that open shot. Monty Williams has these guys so bought in that nobody's forcing anything. Everything comes in the flow of the offense, and it's super fun to watch. But yeah, if you're a Milwaukee fan, you've got to be extremely frustrated because you know that you're not going to get
the day has truly happened because 2 in a row will surely put a lot of pressure. It's not that they can't make a comeback, but the next game is going to be more pressure on them because it would be an away game for Bucks.
Yep. So that I fully expect to see Chris Middleton step up and really show up in a much bigger offensive way. Same with Drew Holiday. Obviously, you always feel more comfortable at home, so hopefully we see that happen. But kind of having those crazy fans obviously plays a huge has a big effect on you. So I expect big things from them. It just in games 1 and 2, it just was super underwhelming. And honestly, in Drew Holiday, that's the one that I'm most shocked about. If you remember, the Bucks were super aggressive. They went out and traded for Drew Holiday from the New Orleans Pelicans. Right. They ended up trading their point guard, who they've had for a while, Eric Bledsoe. And to be honest, if you look at their numbers, they are no different. You would almost prefer to have Eric Bledsoe compared to Drew Holiday's performance so far. And that's not a fun thing to see. They went all in to trade Drew Holiday. You expect him to show up and be a third star, even a second star. Right. And that's just happening. So I expect big things from them. Obviously, if they want to have any type of chance to come back, they're going to need both Middleton They'll honestly need PJ Tucker. They'll need Brook Lopez to step up as well. But everybody besides Giannis needs to step up for the Bucks to have a chance.
Right. The only thing that I personally saw was missing in the game from the Bucks and the Suns was that the Suns were in coordination. They were playing it as a team. When in terms of Bucks itself, it was only a one-man show. Scoring 42 points is not easy, but it means that he's the only person managing to do so. If you look at even Tucker, he scored 7 points, Lopez 8 points. So as you know, as discussed earlier as well, if this remains the strategy, I think we can end up watching a clean sweep for Milwaukee Bucks.
I agree. That's the direction that it's trending in, and basketball fans want to see good series. You don't want to see a sweep. I hope Milwaukee can figure it out and kind of even up the series, and then with these next 2 games, that'd be great to see. But yeah, you're right. It was, especially in the third quarter, Giannis, I think, saw, okay, I'm getting no help. I'm going to take over myself, and that's exactly what he did. Whereas on the Phoenix side, like I was saying, it's that fun, free-flowing pass. So many passes on every possession. Somebody's getting an open look. It's just so fun to watch. But yeah, there was a big contrasting difference in both of their offenses, and Phoenix obviously was the better team again in Game 2.
Right. We're so looking for the upcoming match, which would be the Game 3. I would also want to ask Josh, in terms of the world of NBA, any upcoming NBA draft rumors, in terms of any upcoming tradings and things happening back in your part of the world?
Yeah, absolutely. There are some rumblings. Detroit Pistons have the first overall pick, and it's a general consensus that they're looking to take Oklahoma State guard Cade Cunningham. And there have been talks about some teams trying to throw some crazy packages at Detroit to move up to that number 1 pick. People think Cunningham is going to be a generational talent. They think he's going to be somebody who can really carry a franchise. So I've seen and heard some rumors with the Oklahoma City Thunder and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who their star. I've heard some rumors floating around with him. Do they move him? Again, I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but with Ben Simmons in Philadelphia, with Damian Lillard in Portland, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens come draft time. That's really when teams start to get the trade wheels turning. So be interested to see, but I would not be surprised to see some big names traded this offseason, which obviously makes for a really, really fun offseason for NBA fans.
So what exactly, I mean, if you talk about even Cavaliers, would they actually be coming up with a better formula in terms of trading? Because like I said, I've also been reading a lot of news in terms of the trading. So what trading do you think would probably be one of the biggest trade that we may expect, even if it's as a rumor, because there's so many out there?
There are so many out there, you're right. The 2 that I would expect, the first one, you mentioned Cleveland. I fully expect them to move Kevin Love. I've been surprised that they haven't moved Kevin Love in the past few seasons.
Right.
Again, he's getting older, but he's still got basketball left in him. He's on the USA basketball team. He can still play as long as he's healthy. There have been talks about them possibly buying out his contract, but I would expect them to move him, especially closer to the draft. And then we talked about it, these bigger names like Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons, I expect if Philadelphia can get what they're looking for, I see their championship window being the next couple of years with Embiid just being healthy and worrying about his knee. If they can get somebody of that star caliber, of Bradley Beal, of a Damian Lillard, I fully expect them to move on from Ben Simmons after his disappointing playoff performance. So those are the 2 biggest names that I would keep an eye on. Those are the 2 most realistic trades I think would happen. But it'll be interesting to see.
Well, thank you so much, Josh, for being a part of the show and discussing the world of NBA with us.
Absolutely. Love it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. So this is Josh, and obviously he definitely talks about the whole fact that, if Phoenix Suns continue like this and Milwaukee do not control that momentum, I think it would surely come up to a point of clean sweep, which no NBA player or fan would ever want. Everybody wants a good show. So let's hope for the best in Game 3. If Milwaukee Bucks can make a comeback right now, Phoenix Suns lead the entire game by 2. Anyways, this was from the world of NBA. I'll quickly jump over to the world of tennis. Yes, Wimbledon is still on. Want to talk about Ashley Barty, who manages to defeat Angelique to reach Wimbledon's women's singles final. And Barty defeated the German Angelique with sets of 6-3 and 7-6. It was a pretty straight set. And she will be facing Pliskova, who is from Czech Republic. It's going to be very interesting to see how things are. Well, in terms of Naomi Osaka, she's actually called off for privacy and empathy from the press because of the fact, if you remember, She drew back from the French Open at a point, and obviously she talked about mental health awareness, and probably she's going through a lot. So that is still out there, and she's still taking a break from the world of tennis to protect her mental health. So this was from the world of tennis. I'll quickly jump over to the world of Olympics. Yes, talking about Olympics, the fans are banned from the Olympic venues because of the virus emergency imposed. And if you remember, the Olympic situation has been going through this. We've always been getting news and giving you news in terms of whether the virus is out there. Sometimes the government supports it, that they would want to have an open event. Sometimes they do not want to. But right now, fans are banned from the Olympic venues as the virus is escalating. And not to forget that there's another Delta version that we've been talking about in terms of the coronavirus. So it's out there. So let's hope things go by fine in terms of that. But anyways, the virus emergency will start from July 12th to 22nd of August. So basically, it's currently underway in terms of the fact that they would want to start it from the 12th to the 22nd to see if they can actually control the virus. Not only that, Japan has so far recorded around 14,900 deaths. So it is very interesting to see how they are trying to control the entire perspectives. Polls show most of the Japanese would prefer the games to be postponed again, but to postpone such an event like Olympics, it's a big event, and obviously there's a huge money influx, and in terms of the prestigious level of Olympics, it's really big. But the management of the Olympics still want to continue, even if it's without the fans. But we'll see how things develop further in the future, because the major thing is all the athletes out there from the world would want to perform, but they would rather wanted to perform in front of people rather than all the fans out there, rather than empty stadiums. But anyways, we still are going through the coronavirus situation. Let's hope all goes well. Anyways, guys, if you want to reach out to us, you can on our social handle, which is @Indus News Sports. Till then, take good care of yourself, have a good weekend, and bye-bye.